Hello everyone out there. It's 2 days to the general election in the United States. So I thought I would just try to look online. I'm still grappling with who runs or owns the news media. I found this little YouTube video about CNN and Fox going after each other by an independent panel and their analyzation of it. It's kind of interesting who actually produces the news or information to us to make those most important decisions in our life. Thought this was pretty interesting, so let's take a look at this YouTube video that I found.
It's not news that the Fox network leans to the right and CNN to the left. What is relatively new is how the two are calling each other out, leaving viewers with the toughest role of all, figuring out what to make of it all.
When a Fox News military analyst suddenly quit last year, CNN's Anderson Cooper was anxious to hear what he had to say about working at Fox.
With the rise of Donald Trump, Fox did become a destructive propaganda machine, particularly the primetime hosts.
And CNN media critic Brian Stelter went further, booking obscure GOP presidential candidate Joe Walsh to hear him diss Fox.
The Americans who listen to Fox News and conservative talk radio are being lied to.
Then again, Fox's Tucker Carlson is just as tough on CNN, accusing them of shilling for the Democrats.
But CNN was not always nakedly partisan. It used to be a news network. It didn't always function as it does now as a political campaign.
There's no question that there is bias on both sides. But what about the truth? This week, CNN's Alison Camerota took issue with analysis from 3 primetime Fox News hosts on the DOJ's Inspector General's report into the FBI's Russia probe.
The report, as I mentioned to Hannity, is a devastating indictment of our FBI and our intel gathering apparatus.
Saying Fox offers nothing even close to journalism, Camerota offered her own opinion at what was happening there.
They just don't deal in nuance, and they just hope that their viewers and their voters don't either.
Right now, there's not a lot of journalism going on at either network. As for who is telling the truth, that's an easier call.
I mean, I'm sort of wondering why they're doing this. I mean, we just had a discussion about who's telling the truth. But, I mean, why is CNN, trying to set the record straight for stuff that Fox is saying? I mean, the truth of the matter is that people have niches, and they go to the niche that they feel most comfortable in. And then if you're watching CNN, half the time it's probably totally out of context. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Not a big fan of CNN. I'm really not a big fan of Fox. So, I'm not sure what to say about this, except that I think it's appropriate for Brian Stelter, as a media analyst, to be talking about what's on Fox. But for the most part, I think that CNN ought to stick to their knitting. They're really trashing their brand because, although I wouldn't agree with how Tucker Carlson reached this conclusion, the fact is CNN used to be known as being more serious and more newsy than Fox or MSNBC. And that just isn't the case anymore.
Well, by the way, he had some surreptitiously taken video of Jeff Zucker talking about coverage and how they're going to, Trump and impeachment are going to be 24 hours. So that's what he was basing it on.
Sure, and it's just, it's just whatever will get ratings, CNN is going to do it. And that wasn't their brand, and it shouldn't be their brand. I hate to see them mucking around in the same mud that Fox is mucking around in, even if what they're saying is, in the end, a lot more truthful.
That's true. Kelly?
I thought it was Kelly's turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
No?
Go.
No, I'd prefer to wait. Go ahead.
Why don't I hop in here?
Okay, go ahead.
I am a big fan of Brian Stelter, who I think does a terrific. I don't know where he gets his energy. He is probably the most influential and important media analyst, I'd say, working right now. That said, watching that piece reminded me of why I pretty much never watch cable news unless I'm catching up on stuff to get ready for a Beat the Press segment, because it's just exhausting. I don't enjoy seeing the back and forth. I think that they're doing it for different reasons. I think Fox is doing it because they're following President Trump's lead, right? He loves to talk about how CNN is fake news, and I think they're taking their cues from him and this sort of weird feedback loop that they have. As for CNN, Zucker does seem to think that this rebranding is the way to go, and embracing a more openly partisan, less heavily reported approach to news is beneficial, and maybe it is, ratings-wise. I just don't want to watch it.
But what happens if you're now talking about two niche groups and they don't watch each other? So when you start talking about what's happening,
for American democracy.
Yes, that's the bigger picture. But I'm saying on the ground, if you're saying this is what they said over here and this is what they said over here, you're not that group you're talking to. They're not talking. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
They didn't watch them, so they don't know. So there's got to be another way of saying, unless it's egregious, and it used to happen more in tiny ways. Something egregious would be said, and then some other broadcaster would say, "Come on, Fox." And that would be the conversation. But a constant barrage of this is not going to help anybody, and certainly not them.
See, to me, what CNN's doing is nowhere near what Fox is doing. I see Fox
I agree with that, but
as
that's
an
still
absolute danger to America. They have taken leave of planet Earth. I hate to cite the sex harasser Bill O'Reilly, but at least when Bill O'Reilly was on, you have a little bit he was a great interviewer. What Fox does is either lie all the time, or race bait, or immigrant bait, or if there's some story that's really bad about Trump, they will find some University of California, Berkeley demonstration that they didn't let the right-wing person talk.
That's
and
true.
Look at all these little snowflakes. And people that I know, have known all my life, that are smart people, that have read lots of history books, including my sister, will watch this show and believe it. So to me, whatever anybody can do to undermine, if Fox were to turn on Donald Trump, that would be the end of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's how powerful they've become. Yeah. But it's about money and it's about viewership. But it's really, I think Tom Brokaw said it, or maybe it was somebody said it, they are dangerous in a way that I find really scary.
But also, so then what stands out then is when the Chris Wallaces, or in the past,
thank God he's still there.
Shepard Smith would say, wait a minute. But you don't hear as much about it. So
no, Chris Wallace on Sunday mornings. Thank God for him.
Chris Wallace just came out and gave a speech saying that Trump is the greatest threat to the free press that we've seen in our lifetime. So I wonder if he's going to go the way of Shepard Smith.
Yeah, you wonder how long he's going to last.
But isn't he on Fox Network, not on the cable news network? He works for.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think.
He's not the opinion person, but still, he is a voice that they would prefer to be in line.
But you may be right. I don't think he pops up on the Fox News channel.
He's on the Fox News.
And you know what I wish? I wish Laura Ingraham would stop wearing a cross around her neck like she's ridiculous. A big representative of Christianity when she's doing something that is so nasty and anti-Christian. Get rid of the cross.
All right.